Hello! Today I'll be showing you how to get animated sequences into Blender and to create things like what you're seeing right now. The process is fairly simple, and let's delve right in. Alright, so I'm just going to switch tabs here and stop my timeline. Actually, I have to go back here and stop my timeline, go back to modeling. As you can see, the drawing itself, or the sequence, is on a flat plane. It's being projected onto it. Let's see, completely one-dimensional person. Full of character, though. Alright, so we're just gonna delete all of this and start brand new. And let's make sure that our 3D cursor is in the center. The reason for that is because everything that you create will be created at the 3D cursor. So I'm going to do Shift S and then snap cursor to world origin. I'm going to also turn on screencast keys so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so I'm going to create a new plane. This is going to serve as our canvas for our animated sequences. What's going to happen now is I'm going to drag this out, a new window. You can tell there's a cursor here, just click and drag, create a new window. But be careful, don't do it twice, because it's going to create two windows. Now if this happens, just right click on one, join area, and wherever the arrow goes, it's going to connect that way. We're going to click on the top left icon, and we're going to go to Shader Editor. Now I've already created the material beforehand, just to show you. Oh, that's not the right one here. Over here. There's a few things to set up, so we're going to do something like this. So I'm just going to do that, create a new material. Now you can see there's two ways to go about this. I've selected this, but this has no material currently. We can do one by going over here, creating one by going here, adding a slot and hitting new. Or we can click on the object itself and just hit new. Automatically the nodes are selected. That's very important. I have Node Wrangler enabled, so it allows me to add nodes very quickly. As an example, I can do Control T, and that'll add all the required things needed for add image texture. What's needed is texture coordinate, mapping, and image texture. Now if you don't have access to Node Wrangler, I highly recommend it by going into File, Edit, Preferences, and this pop-up window should show up, and we can just type in Node, and it's Node Wrangler. Now you have access to the hotkey of Control T every time you click on a node. I'll add these nodes here. But if you don't have that, or don't want to go through that trouble, Shift A, Add, Search, Image, and Image Texture. And you do that for each of the respective nodes you see here. Alright, once that's done, we're going to hit Open. We're going to navigate towards our rendered out image sequence. I have one already made. Over here. Now there's a bunch of frames. I recommend starting with the first frame. For me, that'd be frame 0. I can't recall how many frames I have here, but you need that exact number. So I'm going to hit Open Image. And voila, our image is here. But if we hit play, I'm just going to drag a window down here and change this to a timeline. Hit play. Our image isn't updating. Well, that's because currently it's selected as a single image. So if we select this, go to image sequence. Again, nothing is happening right now. That's because we have to input the amount of frames we have. I think I'm just going to guess, let's just say 100 for now. You do need to input the exact frames you have, because if you go over, it'll start showing missing frames as a purple texture. So I'm say 100 frames for now. Our image isn't moving yet. Well, that's because we have to hit auto refresh down here. So we'll tick that. It's not moving. Oh, there it is. It just took a while. So now we have our imported sequence. But yet, you'll see it'll stop at 100. Let's say if your animation's looping, you'd want to select cyclic right here. So now it's just going to loop back to the first frame after 100 frames. Ideally, you want a loopable animation so you don't have any of this pop in, right? After 100 frames, you'll see it pop right there. Alright. The animation I have is loopable. I just can't remember how many frames I have exactly. I think it's at 118. I think it is. Alright. Another thing you might note is that it's flat like this. Well, we need to rotate it upwards. It's on the x-axis, so I'm going to hit R, X, 90. Oh, and I've accidentally keyed in that. That's funny. So it's going to go back here, auto unkey that, hit delete, delete keyframe. This feature is pretty handy if you want to like key things and move things around automatically, but we won't get into that right now. But what we will get into is the fact that there's a lot of space here and the top of our animation is cutting off. We can fix that easily by going into the UV editor. I'm just going to make some space up here. Let's just move this slightly up here. Alright, I'm going to click on the top here, drag it down, click this, navigate towards UV editor. UV editor. It's going to drag this down here, and I'm going to click on this image icon, and we're going to navigate towards our first of our image sequences. This for me would be guard move 000. We'll click on that. So you can see he's a little bit wider and he's scrunched up here. That's because this is already automatically UV'd, but it's UV'd as if it's stretched out. So we're going to fix that. Select the face, go into UV, and before that, we have to be an orthographic view. So I'm hitting numpad 1. It's going to be orthographic. This is pretty important because we're going to go UV, and we're going to do project from view. And that's going to do it in the ratios we see here. So it's going to scale this person right up. Now you can see that there are his feet and the top of his head is starting to stick out. Well, that's because in our image node, we have it as repeat. So the texture is going to repeat. To show you the example here, if I stretch him out, there's going to be lots and lots and lots of guards. We don't need that. To remove that, we're just going to click here and click clip. So remember, it's repeat, 1, 2, 3, third option down, click clip, and now it's going to clip it off. It's just going to have this one single icon here. Alright. Well, it seems like there's another problem too, because he's on a black background. What happens if you want an alpha? If you want to see what's behind him? Just to show you as an example, let's put a cube right here. You can see that we can't see the cube at all. Well, that's because we need to connect the alpha to the alpha. So we'll do alpha, alpha. Well, that's weird. The reason because Blender needs you to enable the fact that you are using an alpha within the shader. So we're going to navigate towards the material. To find that, it's this circle icon with checkers on it. We're going to click on that. I already had mine selected, but let's just say you have something else selected. We'll select back on the materials here. Select your material, and we're going to look down where it says settings right here. Well, currently the blend mode is opaque. We're going to navigate towards alpha clip, and it should be working now. If it isn't working, we can play around with the clip threshold here. So bring some of that lines, bring back some of the lines or not. Sorry about that. I got allergies here. Alright. So that looks all cool, but if we go into rendered mode, add in a light, point light, it seems like it's still rendering as if it was the shadow is the same as if it's a plane. What if we wanted the shadow of our render here, of our guard clipped out? Well, we'll have to navigate towards the shadow mode and do the same thing. Alpha clip. And now it's rendering out the proper. Let me just take off soft shadows. Click on him, click back on this, and now that's pretty cool. So let's hit play and see what happens. You can see the shadow itself is moving as well. And with our material here, it's taking into account all these properties. So let's take out specular, raise roughness. And to show what I mean by that, let's say if I added like metallic and bumped up the specularity, reduce the roughness. Since he's super shiny, you can see he's like grabbing this spotlight here. But we don't want that. Unless you do. I don't. Let's say if you actually don't want it to take in any light information, if you want this to be an emissive, all you have to do is connect color from the image texture into emission. And now he won't take in any lighting information. But what happens if you want half and half? Well, you'll have to add something called a mix RGB node. Mix RGB node. Connect that to one. Connect this to a black. And now we can manipulate the factor. We can have the best of both worlds. We'll meet you halfway. That is pretty cool. Well, hopefully you learned something here in terms of bringing in an animated sequence. You have a lot of fun setting up shots this way, animating your... See you next one.